Hello, everybody. This is Angel Rebo from Dallas, Texas, in the United States of America, with Xpnsion Network, as you know, accelerating the consciousness of humanity every single day. This is Angel Rebo, as I said, known here in the world of business in the US as the CEO confidant, and known in Latin America as the co-founder and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation. We help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using their local resources. And we have here today someone who has already been with us before, who already left us with the eyes big open. I know that you guys know I have big eyes, but it was an amazing story that he shared about his dad. And today we have Mike Anthony again. Mike, welcome to Xpnsion Network yet again. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to be back. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You know, it's as I was confessing to him, it's difficult to change gears because, I mean, the love that book is, and the story behind it is so intense. But you know, I would say I think that you would agree with me, Mike. You have definitely not lived a boring life, right? Now I have two young kids, and you know, as you know, the kids always you know, complain about, you know, I'm bored. You know, we have to do this, we have to do that with excuse. But you definitely have not had a boring life. And I'm going to do something I did also with the previous conversation with you. We're talking today about the book Live at Hamilton. Not everybody necessarily knows what Hamilton is, but we will definitely let them know. But I'm gonna start reading the back of the book, as I did with the previous book, the story of a man whose parents told him he could be anything he wanted to be, but who, when the Red Sox disagreed, and that needs an explanation, obviously, instead became a bartender on Broadway. And I'm going to leave it here. All right. So who is the person that you are actually hanging out with at the back of the book? Come on, tell me. I'm dying to know.
The person on the back of the book, that's Marie. That's my friend Marie, who is just an amazing, you know, she's my best friend and awesome. And coworker as well.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so for the people that don't know Hamilton, because I mean, I obviously people who have been and have seen it and have lived it and have experienced it, they will never forget it, right? But if you could explain to people what Hamilton is.
Yeah, it's a musical written by Lin-Manuel Miranda that took the world by storm in 2015 in a way that, you know, it transcended musical theater in a way that almost maybe no other show has. It became a part of the zeitgeist. You know, it was just in the culture. It was, people were making jokes about it on television shows. It was this phenomenal success.
Right. So what do you think that made that show a success? What do you think? What were the ingredients? And why are you related to it? Because, you know, one thing is a super mega multi-million-dollar production in Broadway, and another one is Mike Anthony, right? I mean, people still don't make the connection.
Yeah. I had moved to New York right after college, planning to be an actor, you know, and most actors take a day job until their acting career, you know, comes to fruition. And so I got this job as a bartender, thinking, Angel, that I'd have it for a month, maybe a half a year at the outset, until my career totally took off into the stratosphere. And then 14 years later, I was still behind that bar, waiting for the acting career to take off. But I would not change a thing about how my life has gone. The job, which was unforeseen when I took it, ended up bringing me extraordinary experiences, culminating with Hamilton. And you asked what it is about Hamilton that makes it what it is. And I ask myself that all the time. And I think part of it is actually relates to our last conversation about the world of beyond this one. I think there's something about Hamilton that hits people here in a way that is probably hard to articulate. But I mean, it's the writing is incredible. The choreography, the story. It was definitely a case of capturing, you know, lightning in a bottle. But there's also this sort of ethereal quality to it. I think this ineffable something, you know, because we have little kids sometimes coming in, 8 years old, weeping, they're crying just to be in the lobby of Hamilton. And I don't know what that is. You know, I feel like there's more to the story than maybe we're able to perceive.
exactly. If you could like summarize what the story is about, what
Sure.
would you say? What are like the highlights? What do you think? I don't know. Is the still show? Is the show still on?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're closed down right now because of COVID, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's still one of the most popular shows on Broadway. It's about Alexander Hamilton, who was the Treasury Secretary, and it tells the story of the founding of America from before the Revolutionary War up through the creation of the Constitution and the first years of George Washington's presidency, and then into John Adams. So it's about the founding of America, but told in a hip hop rap style.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Wow, that's something. So obviously, being in Broadway, bartendering for so long, for so many years, you've seen many shows, right? I mean, you've lived. Could you say that? Would you say that every show, being different, obviously, attracts different audiences?
It does. Definitely depends on the show and the type of show. And, Broadway is a very diverse place. There are all types of stories, musicals and straight plays. Hamilton doesn't really fit into any of the standard Broadway categories, so to speak. It kind of broke the mold in a sense, and that's part of why it's so revolutionary. It's a story about the revolution, but it's also a revolutionary. It's told in a revolutionary way, and in a sense, that in a way that no other show had before. The style of it is so unique, and it's so fast. Lynn packs in so much into each line. It's a little bit like Shakespeare in that way, because the actors are speaking so quickly that you really have to be paying attention to catch everything that's in there. So Hamilton has an audience that is also much more diverse than your typical Broadway audience. You've got people, one of my favorite stories that I tell in the book is I had these football players come to the show, right? They were these enormous guys, 6'7" and enormous. They were so big that I jokingly said, "Oh my gosh, did you guys meet on a football team or something?" And they said, "Actually, yeah, we did. They played Division I football for a big university in America." And they said that they had been dragged there by their girlfriends. They were doing a favor for their girlfriends, and they clearly didn't want to be there. And then at intermission, one of the guys came back and his eyes were pink. He'd clearly been crying. And I said, "Oh my gosh, how's the show?" And he was like, "Dude," and that's all he said. He was blown away. So that's one of the magical things about Hamilton, is that it has broken down barriers, and it's brought in an audience from all different places.
When you are for so many years, talking to people that go there to have fun, go there to have a unique experience in their life. I mean, I remember I went to New York for the first time. I think I've never shared this anecdote with anybody, but I went to a contest on TV, on national TV in Spain, and I made so much money that actually I decided to go to New York with the money I made.
Oh wow!
And that was in the 80s. It was like my first year in college. And we decided, to go to New York, right? And we obviously wanted to see some shows and everything. As you know, people have it's going to Broadway is like it's like people cannot die if they don't go to Broadway first. These kind of things. I mean, it's really so special. It's really that special. Yeah. So that means that you have interacted, obviously, with a very diverse audience, but at the same time with people that go there to really open themselves, to really enjoy it, to really embrace everything, every single part of the experience. And I think that you have noticed that, and you might have even, and that's the question, have you nurtured from that kind of audience where you have been working for so many years?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I first went, like I said, I had planned on being an actor, and after a while I got a little bit sad, that wasn't taking off in that way. But when I started to really appreciate what you're saying right now, really looking around at where I was and taking in the energy of the people that I was meeting. I mean, it's that old, Zen teachers have been teaching it for thousands of years, right? It's about being present in the moment. And that's what brings happiness. And yeah, you're right that I'm working at a place that has this energy to it every single day. You're right in that it's a destination, right? Broadway is like going to Disney World for some people. It's a real destination, and I have not I try to not take that for granted, and I want to be a part of that experience. We're the first people that people see when they come in, and so we try to be cognizant of that we are a part of someone's special night, and it's a blessing to be able to spend because I haven't worked a single day that I've been bartending. It does not feel at all like work. It's a real joy.
How many people do they typically? I never asked. I mean, I've never thought about it. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. Do you know more or less every show? How many people do they typically go and watch it?
Yeah, we the Richard Rogers Theater where Hamilton is, we have 1,300 people, and it's sold out every single night. So we have somewhere between 1,300 and 1,400 people because we have standing room, so people are literally standing up in the back. Between 1,300 and 1,400 people a night.
And how many of those go to the bar?
As many as they can. I mean, intermission happens and people run to the bar because you only have those 15 minutes to get your drinks. But
how do you make sure? How do you make sure that you serve? Because again, you already know what's going to happen because it happens every single day, right? How do you deal with that amount of people? How do you do it?
It takes a certain personality type. You can't be easily flustered. When the first night that I was bartending, I've been on stage as an actor before in front of thousands of people. No problem. I was not nervous, I mean, totally fine. My first night bartending, when everyone started to come, I started to have like a panic attack because the pressure is incredible as everyone wants their drinks, and I was spilling things all over the place. So it takes a certain personality type. And now we actually love Marie, who's on the back of that book. We love the rush of it. We actually, we move incredibly quickly, but we actually have a great time getting through as many people as we can.
Right. Why is Marie also with you at the back of the book? I mean, has she lived the experience of Hamilton as much as you have, and that's the reason why she's in there, besides being obviously, as you said before, your best friend?
She has, yeah. She's my ex-girlfriend, then my best friend. We have a long history together, and she's been with me at Hamilton from the very beginning. So we've been through a lot there together. Yeah.
You wrote the book, so obviously, when you have had this experience for so many years with the same show, and you start writing a book, obviously, where do I start from, right? I mean, what am I going to write about? Because there's so much. There's this message I want to get across. You've already shared the message with us. How do you start from this incredible experience? How do you start like dissecting that so it becomes a book?
This book kind of happened because people asked for it. What happened was I'd started sharing stories on Facebook. I would have these beautiful experiences in the lobby, and I would write a story intended to share, with my mom and my family and friends. And I didn't really understand Facebook privacy settings, and everything was public. So the story started to get shared. And pretty soon they were going a little bit viral, way beyond my circle of family and friends. And after a while, people started to ask for the stories to be collected in a book form. So it really is thanks to my Facebook family that grew up around those posts.
Wonderful. I'm sharing, actually, it's good that you mentioned it now. I'm sharing, the copywriting of all those posts that people are going to see, with or along with those interviews. You will be able to see exactly, where to find Mike, what are his most important, media outlets, the ones that you actually publicize on your website as well. It's a beautiful, simple website. I really love, simple things. And so you're really getting to know who Mike is and many other things about Mike and his life. When when you publish the book, and that's a question I ask you also about, about your other book. When you published the book, what was the main goal that you had in mind, besides like these stories like got alive of themselves, so I had to put them together? So what would be the main message that the common denominator that you would like to send to the people with this amazing book, again, live at Hamilton?
The main message for me is that, life can throw you curveballs, right? You don't necessarily know where it's going. And what it means on the back of the book there, when I say, my parents told me I could be whatever I wanted to be. And when I was little, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I wanted to play for the Boston Red Sox. And then the Boston Red Sox said, no, I wasn't quite good enough for that. So, life doesn't always necessarily head the way that you're thinking. And what I learned is that if you don't focus necessarily so much on a particular destination, and you really start to be alive in the journey itself, the destination is going to take care of itself. And that's what the book is about. It was about me really opening up to the moment. And when I did that, I was seeing all of the stories that you read in the book. Those are all true stories. Everything in that book is a true story. And I was seeing them on a daily basis simply because I was paying attention to life. So that's what I would say to people, that, I write in the book that you can't necessarily be whatever you want to be, but you can keep finding things that you want to be. So it's just about keeping on, right? You keep on going until you find the thing that turns you on inside, the thing that lights you up and makes your heart beat. And when you become more alive, then the people around you will become more alive, and it'll be a beautiful thing. So you just gotta keep at it and find the thing that makes you tick.
You have published 2 books, right? And those 2 books have been recently published, both of them, with very profound messages, both of them, very profound stories. How can someone possibly write 2 stories so different, so long, so intense, so life-changing, so eye-opening, really, really amazing, on the same year? How is that possible? There's people, there's so many people I know that they're saying, one of these days I'm going to write a book. One of these days I'm going to write the book. So I would love you to share the story, or maybe even a piece of advice of what to do. What should people do if they have always had that feeling that I have to write a book with this or that? Because people have even told me, as you said, right?
Yeah. The way that I would never suggest doing 2 books at once like this, that's crazy. The only reason I was able to do that is because of COVID. Actually, we got shut down. And so the timing just happened to work out, that I was able to have the time to get the 2 books done. But yeah, it's overwhelming, right? If you, like the day that I sat down to write Love, Dad, the second book, I was like, where do I begin? It's such a bit, so what helped me is making your focus smaller, coming up with maybe where you want to begin and maybe where you want to end, you can kind of do, and then you fill in as you go. Writing an outline, it was something that was helpful for me. But if you're writing what which I was in these cases, like Love, Dad, I wrote that book in a couple of weeks. It just came out. It just mostly came out. So, and it's a different process for everybody. Obviously, writing is a different process for everybody. But one thing I was told that really helped me relax about the whole thing is that writing is rewriting. So I found it's good to just get something out there on the page. And once you do that, you can refine and fix and adjust until you have the piece of art that you want to be on that page. But it's important to get it out, something out first. Just start.
Did you ask for help? Or did you do it by yourself?
I wrote them mostly by myself. I did have an amazing help with an editor, this lovely woman who just happened to follow me on Facebook, and just out of the kindness of her heart, edited the book for me. So she took care of a lot of the formatting type stuff. There's also a an application I used called Scrivener, and that was immensely helpful. It really helps you organize and keep track of what you're doing. So I highly recommend an app like that.
Wow. Still, obviously, I mean, it's 2 books, and it's in a very short period of time. So people are wondering right now. I mean, and again, this is the second time that we talk, and we bring you here to Xpnsion Network. I mean, what do you do for a living? I mean, because with so many amazing stories written, told, explained, shared, I mean, what do you do for a living? I mean, what would you like to do? What are you doing with your life, and what would you like to do with your life moving forward, Mike?
Moving forward, I mean, I'm a, bartending is still something that I love doing. And now I think about, no matter how successful I might become, I think I would not totally walk away from that life, from working there, because it's such a joy to do that. But, that said, I'm also working on some film stuff, working on a documentary about the survival of consciousness, and then also working on a screenplay for a fictional movie. So I'm doing a little more writing now in my life. That it seems to be heading in that direction.
So do you consider yourself like a privileged person to be able to do all those incredible creative things?
Incredibly privileged, incredibly lucky. Yeah, I mean, my life, none of my life would have happened without my parents, like it's all thanks to my mom and my dad. I'm an incredibly lucky person, and I really try to not ever take that for granted.
With everything that is happening in the world, right now, and it's this interview is happening in beginning of March 2021. And I personally have 3 kids. I'm very sensitive about what happens with the kids in the world. As you probably, realized in the beginning, I have a foundation. I, co-founded a foundation to help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs. So I'm extremely sensitive about the future of humanity and about the role of kids. And, it's very common. I mean, I was raised in a family, in a, let's say low middle class family, but, my mom and dad had never gone to college. I mean, they never went beyond, elementary school, but we all 4 siblings, we all went to college, and we all, follow like the normal, path of formal education. And a lot of people out there, if we survey them, a lot of young people becoming a bartender, okay, they would consider, oh my God, no. I don't want to do that in my life. I don't want that even to think that's going to happen. And I don't even think that I can make a life out of. That's why your story is so fascinating, Mike. It's so fascinating, right? Like I was there because I wanted to be an actor, but look at that. And look at the amazing life, and look at the amazing things that he's doing right now after being exposed to that world. And, I don't know if it was Jim Rohn who said that the people that you are more in contact with eventually define who you are and who you become. And look at what you're doing. Look at what you are doing right now. Scripts, screenplays, movies and documentaries, right? So what would you say to the kids? Because I think that kids need inspiration today. They need pieces of advice of people that, they maybe wanted to follow the path that it was supposed to happen, they were supposed to have, but maybe they're doing something else that wasn't supposed to happen. What would the piece of advice be from you to all these, young men and women in the world?
First of all, I want to congratulate you on what you're doing. Hearing about your is it a foundation?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, that is such a good on you for
Thank
that.
you.
And I'll be donating to that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, one of the things that I would say is the idea of supposed to can be like a straitjacket on us, right? And we have these ideas of timeline, like by this age I should have this done, then maybe by this age I should be married, and then by this age, and those things kind of can strap you in. And to me, it was very liberating to get to the point where I let that go. You know, I got to the point where I was 35 and I wasn't married, and it became okay. I let it go. And that's when life, I think, for me anyway, really started to open up, was when I sort of let it flower by not constraining it with my narrow vision of what is supposed to be. And really, it sounds cliche, but just living day by day, because all that we really have is this right now, right? You and I together here in this moment, exchanging this energy. This is all that there is in the universe for us right now, right? And if we do this moment well, and we do it with open hearts, and we're here for each other, our moment after this is going to be better and will take care of itself. So pay close attention to the moment, because it is all that there is. And if you treat it with care and love and the attention that it deserves, the other things are going to fall into place. I try not to worry too much about what's out there or what's back there. Really just being here right now. That's the simplest. If there's any key that I have, it would be that.
What would you say has been the secret of, is this the secret of your happiness right now?
No question about it. It's the secret of happiness for me. Definitely, it was about letting go. You know, dreams are great, right? Definitely having dreams and goals and everything is wonderful. And of course, we have our regrets that we might think about. You know, a lot of people think about them incessantly. It's hard to let, you know, the brain is a powerful thing. It's a powerful generator of thoughts. And we start to confuse our thoughts with us. And we're not that. We're not our thoughts. So yeah, for me, the key to my personal happiness is about being alive right now, and getting, you know, I'll get where I'm going when I get there, but where I end up is entirely related to what I am doing right now and how I am handling this moment right now.
Have you ever asked yourself the question how your family, your parents have actually conditioned to be who you are today?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was incredibly lucky in that way, right? That my parents are these incredibly loving people. And when I said I was going to go to college and, you know, I was going to be a science teacher, and then I became an actor instead, and I wanted to study acting, they let me do that, you know? Yeah, parents are, some kids are definitely starting with a disadvantage in that way, depending on what they've been conditioned to believe. So that can be hard. Yeah. And so I'm aware of that I was starting from a place, that I was very lucky to be starting from, with parents who, fostered that kind of an environment where where my perceptions could take hold.
2 books being featured on a TV show, many interviews, you know, lots of interactions on social media. This is a lot of exposure. What would you like your legacy to be, Mike?
I would like to just leave the world better in any way that I can. You know, one thing I try to focus on, and I write about this in Hamilton a lot, is that you know, if you can leave a person feeling better than before they met you, that, like, there's nothing better than that, right? If I could have one goal in my life, it would simply be to have people leave me feeling better, and certainly not worse anyway, right? At least not have them feeling worse. And if that's your goal and you start to do that, you start to get addicted to that feeling. And that's what starts to the ripple effect that changes the world. So yeah, the only legacy, and my dad was a shining example of this, is you know, I think kindness has a real power to it. And I'd like people to remember, I try to remind myself all the time, that we have the power to change someone's life, right? Because if you change their day, you change their life. And you can do that in every single interaction. depending on what your energy is like with that person. So if you're just as kind as you can be, chances are things are going to work out.
What's the best way for people to connect with you, Mike? What's the best way to do it?
MikeAnthony.com is the website. And then I have an email. You can contact me through email there. And it might take a while, but I do read all of the emails. I'm going to try to get back to everyone as well. So MikeAnthony.com.
And for the people that they obviously know about the book, that would like to read the books, where are they available? Where can they buy them from?
They're on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Okay, awesome. So, anything else that you would like to add to this interview? Any piece of advice? Any reminder to the audience that is watching us today?
I'd like to remind people to donate to your cause. And I want to congratulate you on that again, because, it's easy to talk the talk, but to actually do what you're doing, you're changing people's lives, man. That's, kudos to you. And thanks for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's funny that you mentioned this, because I talk about wisdom for kids very often. And I have to say that you're part of the minority. Obviously, I don't mention it obviously to have a donation, but I appreciate that so much. And I couldn't emphasize that enough. Like, walking the talk is today it's a scarce virtue or a skill. So it's extremely useful what you're saying. So I really appreciate you, Mike, that you were able to join us today. Thank you for sharing another story. I would like to let you know that Xpnsion Network is your home place right now. Whenever you want to do something else, and consider us part of your extended team. You're part of your mission.
Thank you very much.
We totally resonate, our audience as well. So really consider Xpnsion Network part of your home. Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And thank you very much, everybody watching us today. Again, another great conversation. Lucky enough to be the second with Mike Anthony. So thank you everybody for being with us today. I'm sure that you have enjoyed the conversation as much as we have in here. We hope to see you soon again on our next show. And meanwhile, you have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.